Most of the people watching this video live in brick houses. Are you one of them? Have you ever thought about the children who toil among adults making those bricks? Let us think about them now. Let us imagine those tiny limbs toiling under heavy strain in tough conditions. What must be going through that tender mind, deprived of play and education? What can we do to help improve the lot of children like him? But how many of them are out there, you ask, and how do they end up like this in the first place? Pakistan's last National Child Labour Survey was conducted 23 years ago in 1996. That data has long gone out of date. It is important to keep in mind that not all working children are child labourers. Also, certain forms of work are permissible for children with limitations on age and duration. Children between ages 12 to 14 may do light work as long as it does not threaten their health, safety, or hinder their education. In simple terms, child labour falls in three categories. 1. A child aged less than 12 economically active for 1 or more hours per week. 2. A child aged between 12 and 14 who is economically active for 14 or more hours per week. And 3. A child aged between 14 and 18 who is economically active for 43 hours or more per week. In addition, there are the worst forms of child labour defined in ILO Convention 182 Article 3, falling in two categories. The first category of the worst form of child labour is a child under 18 participating in activities that are hazardous by nature or circumstance. The second category, unconditional worst form of child labour, are all forms of slavery or practices similar to slavery, the use, procuring, or offering of a child for prostitution, the use, procuring, or offering of a child for illicit activities. Child Labour Survey has been designed to take hazardous work into account to arrive at a clear picture of the situation, with the exception of unconditional worst forms of child labour, for which there are other specific instruments. Pakistan is obliged to conduct child labour survey by several domestic imperatives and international commitments. These include supporting realization of Article 11(3) of the Constitution, supporting government to achieve SDG 8.7, achieving of implementing core international human rights treaties under GSP+, including ILO Convention 138, ILO Convention 182, the Convention on the Rights of Child, and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, among others. To fulfill the Convention's committee recommendations to Government of Pakistan for undertaking a national survey on the nature and extent of child labour. It is against this backdrop that every province and territory of Pakistan is embarking on the journey to conduct a child labour survey. UNICEF's advocacy efforts to support the governments to conclude the child labour survey started in late 2015. This led the provinces and territories to initiate action on child labour survey design. An internationally recognized methodology of the Statistical Information and Monitoring Programme on Child Labour, SIMPOC, developed by ILO in close collaboration with UNICEF, is being used for the first time in Pakistan. SIMPOC has been adopted in over 50 countries across 5 regions of the globe for the last 2 decades. SIMPOC enforces similar definitions, measurement tools across the globe and through time, enabling data comparability within Pakistan, internationally, and across time. The journey from inception to completion of the child labour survey design, facilitated by UNICEF's technical support in partnership with DFID, entailed achieving a progression of milestones, starting with a consultative inception workshop in each province aimed at providing the respective government and the other relevant stakeholders an opportunity to discuss the child labour definition and sample design, contextualize the SIMPOC questionnaire, agree on collecting data on tablets, and paving way for the pilot. UNICEF technical support also covered finalization of technical documentation, including ethical considerations and safeguarding measures, training of trainers, developing state-of-the-art systems for child labour survey, which include applications for every member of the field team, a web-based monitoring system, a coding application and a dashboard, supervision of pilots, and development of data cleaning protocols. UNICEF will continue to provide technical support during the rollout by facilitating monitoring and analysis. Punjab became the first to hold Inception Workshop on Child Labour Survey for the Government of Punjab in May 2016. Sindh joined next with its own Inception Workshop in August 2016, followed by Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in April 2017, Gilgit-Baltistan in October 2017, Balochistan in July 2018, and ICT and AJK in October 2018. The staggered start between provinces means they are at various points along the path. A key milestone of the journey was the pilot survey conducted in 2 districts of Punjab, that is Chakwal and Muzaffargarh, which led to the finalization of the sample design by the end of 2017 with technical support from UNICEF and Pakistan Bureau of Statistics. Similar pilot surveys were later conducted on other provinces to test the system tools and build the capacities of the government officials for the survey rollout, fostering sustainability for more regular data generation rather than passing another quarter of a century without evidence. This process engaged several UNICEF partners, including federal, provincial and territorial governments, with Labour Department leading the survey, Bureau of Statistics executing the survey, Pakistan Bureau of Statistics, Centre for Evaluation and Development at the University of Mannheim, its local partner National Rural Support Programme, NRSP, DFID, a key partner for child labour survey work in the country, and ILO, particularly ILO's International Training Centre for Capacity Building of Government Officials on Child Labour Data Analysis and Reporting. Once the Child Labour Survey report arrives, a wealth of disaggregated data will become available to the governments on not only the prevalence of child labour but also the various manifestation and nuances of child labour, including its causes and consequences for educational, health, and psychological well-being of children, as well as their working conditions, type of work performed, and the linkages with the socio-economic characteristics of the households. Child labour survey data shall support authorities to formulate evidence-based policies in line with the ILO Convention 138 and 182, Article 1, as well as design targeted programmatic interventions towards the achievement of goals of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The agenda items most relevant to Child Labour Survey are SDG 8.7, calling for the eradication of all forms of child labour by 2025, 5 years in advance to the 2030 Agenda, and SDG 16.2, end abuse, exploitation, trafficking, and all forms of violence and torture against children. 11 other targets related to SDG 4, 5, and 6 have linkages with child labour and therefore child labour survey data. Together, all these contribute towards SDG 1, no poverty. In sum, child labour survey data will bolster Pakistan's ability to tackle the SDGs, a stitch in time by all accounts.